Good evening, it's 8:45, Thursday the 16th, I think. It's 16th today. Day number 4, but it kind of feels like day number 1. Really excited about the Tukoi that are behind me now. The new set that we put together earlier tonight, or earlier today. The Deutz Harawake with the original real male Benikiko Kiryu. If you've seen them, they're in the video, part 4 of the video. I can't believe we're now on part 5. But part 4 of the video introduced those Tukoi to you. I got a real fancy, I started getting a real fancy as soon as I got that Deutz Harawake about producing sort of Benikiko Kiryu with a yellow colour as opposed to the red or the orange that we most commonly see. And interestingly enough, when I was in Yoshiki-Goi a couple of weeks back, Yosaemon has a pond which is very much similar. Kiko Kiryu, yellow Kiko Kiryu, and you get a whole mix of stuff in that pond, from Harawake through to sort of Kikujaku kind of koi and the Kiko Kiryu. And I certainly don't want to be copying Yos, and that's certainly not the intention. But it just always, as soon as I got that Deutz Harawake, it looked like it would be an interesting combination. Ideally, I think I'd probably use it with a Kiko Kiryu as opposed to Benikiko Kiryu, but alas, I don't have one of those. And interestingly, I'll put a link up to an article that I wrote about the origins of Benikiko Kiryu and Kiko Kiryu Aoki. And Deutz Harawake was one of the original koi that he used in that production of Benikiko Kiryu, or the Kiko Kiryu, Benikiko Kiryu he has now. Which probably explains, if you saw earlier in the video, I only mentioned it briefly about the coloration to the scales of this female fish. And I had not noticed it until today. It's been out in colder water outside, which really seems to have brought that coloration up in the scales on the back ridge, the dorsal ridge of this particular fish. So I'm hoping that bodes well in terms of the genetic mix, and I'm hoping that just generally things bode well for the two koi that are together, and they manage to produce some eggs this evening and some fertilised eggs between them. So fingers crossed, and I'm hoping to get a good night's sleep tonight as well, not be out here monitoring all the time. Well, good morning. It's 7 o'clock. I've just come down to the koi house for the first time. I came down around 3:30 this morning, just popped in, and it all seemed very quiet in here. So I dropped some water down and put the hose spray on, and just left them to it. When I opened the door this morning, they were poised above the spawning ropes and set off with a spawning shimmy after a few seconds. So it looks like they've just started. It's all still very fresh in here. The water's fresh, the air's fresh. So I suspect if they're doing anything at the moment, they've only just started. I can't see any eggs particularly evident on the ropes, but it was at the sort of the far end, out of sort of vision. That they did that this morning when I walked in the door. So I'm going to leave them be, and hopefully in an hour or so's time we may have proper action going on in the back. Okay, it's 3:30 on Friday afternoon. Just a very quick update, because there's not a lot to update really, to be honest. Since the fish went in yesterday, at various points during the afternoon yesterday and into the evening, and then through the night, in the morning, seen occasional bouts of activity. little shimmies as they come together in the tank, but no proper continued action. But I'm still hopeful. Completely different conditions in terms of the weather today. All week it's been bright sunshine, extremely hot. Today overcast, air pressure's changed, low air pressure outside, and there's supposedly the threat of rain today, but quite often we get weather forecasts for rain here that materialise to nothing when all around us there's rain in other places. So that's it really, that's where we're at. Fish are still obviously in the tank together, and hopefully at some point tonight they'll decide to get fully on with it and start spawning properly. It's 8:45, no big sunset this evening, it's been cloudy all day, so overcast, getting darker early, and it has done the last few days. Everything riding on the two fish behind me tonight. If they don't spawn this evening, then these will be split up and we'll be back to square one to try again in, I don't know, a week, 10 days, 14 days, we'll see how things are. But so got everything crossed at the moment that this pairing can deliver for me tonight. They're following each other around at the moment, nothing too dramatic, but as I said earlier in the video, I've seen them shimmying together a few times throughout the course of the day and yesterday evening as well. So they know where each other are. Hopefully she knows his intentions and she's willing to be part of it this evening. So I say everything crossed, and exactly what stage the next part of the video will be, whether it's through the night or not until tomorrow morning, I really don't know. Not planning on camping out tonight. I'm just going to really leave them to get on, but if I come down and check them and see some action, then I may get some video later. Okay, it's 11:30 p.m. I was just passing by the tank, having already fallen asleep in front of the TV, and so just popped in to check them before a rare rendezvous with my bed, some decent sleep, and yeah, they decided, seems that they've got different ideas for my evening, and they've tempted me to probably stay down here for a little bit longer, because in the tank behind me they're making all the right moves and all the right noises and all the right sounds for spawning to have started, so hopefully be able to catch a little bit of that on video, and then be able to identify that but how I started proper. She's actually started releasing eggs behind me. So there we go. It's thankfully it's been a long time coming this week, and hopefully this is the time. It's now midnight and the action has become somewhat heightened. This is the 30 minutes since I walked into the koi house. The really pleasing news is that things have progressed rapidly behind me. It's now midnight and spawning is in full swing in the tank. I can see eggs on the spawning ropes and they're spawning every few seconds. They're coming together and making the motion of releasing the eggs. So really happy, but my thoughts of going to bed have now somewhat diminished as I watch this unfold. It's now 1:30 in the morning. I'm going to turn the light on just briefly, just to get some better video of them spawning. Don't need to be concerned so much about it disturbing them now, because once they're in the full throes, then there's not a lot that's going to put them off. Difficult to judge how many eggs she's releasing. It's just coming up to 4 a.m. now. Any suggestions of getting sleep tonight soon disappeared once the spawning started in earnest in the tank, and it still continues behind me. So super excited. This is what it's all been about. Been plenty of sleepless nights, got into building the koi house and the tank and everything. So another sleepless night tonight, when this is what it was all about, is certainly going to concern me. Let's say, still carrying on behind me, slowing down slightly maybe, but then they get like a second wind and go off and do several circuits and several shimmies together before taking a little break. So I'm not going to stop them at all, just going to leave them until they naturally stop. Let's say 4 o'clock now, 45 minutes or so until it starts to get light in the morning, and then we can see better and make a decision what we're doing. So a good evening all round at the moment. We can't really assess how many eggs there are, but there seem to be plenty. So yeah, anyway, we'll take a look at all that once the light comes up. We can make better decisions. It's just gone past 4:30 a.m. and I think it's fairly safe to conclude that these pair have finished their job for the night, whilst they still chase occasionally. I think it's the male really rather pushing the issue now. The female's not particularly interested, and a lot of the time they spend swimming apart. So what I shall do now is separate these two. And then pop a little air in the tank. I'm really pleased how good the water looks, I have to say. Not too much bubbling. Sometimes water can look absolutely horrible after this spawn, and I accept there's only 2 small fish. Not a huge amount of eggs, and so obviously that's a contributory factor, but they've done their job and I'm very, very happy. So that'll conclude this video for now, and then later on, once it gets light and once the rec stages start, the development of the eggs, we'll continue in a new video. But I end this one a very happy man, that's for sure.